Now from Canada and Israel, Ayelet Tsabari.
Thank you. What an honor to be here with these, yeah, I'm tall. All these great speakers, really inspiring words from all of you. Words for understanding one another. I put this phrase into Google Translate, not because I don't know what it means, but because sometimes I like to deepen my understanding of a phrase or a word and layer it with extra meaning. As a writer who writes in her second language, I do that often. I read it again in Hebrew, my mother tongue. Milim lehavanat ze et ze. Ironically, it makes no sense. If I translated it back into English, it goes something like this. Words for to understand each other, which illustrates the failure inherent in translation, I suppose. Not off to a great start. I live in a country where words for understanding each other are in short supply these days. Instead, we have words for what is the opposite of understanding? Because it cannot be misunderstanding, can it? It feels inadequate, somehow imperfect. Ignorance, intolerance, hostility, hatred, violence, I can go on. According to research by Van Leer Institute, 10% in Jerusalem, 10% of Jews in Israel speak Arabic. That percentage rises significantly to over 25% among first-generation Jews from Arab lands, but drops again with second and third generation. That's me. I should be speaking Arabic. Yemeni Arabic is the language my grandparents spoke their whole lives. My mother and aunts still use it sometimes when they sing or when they pepper their Hebrew speech with insistent Yemeni words or quote colorful curses like, "May the demons kidnap you," one of my favorites. The language I heard every time I visited my grandmother, watching her talk with her daughters, her friends, a language she used for endearments, infused with the love of ancestral mothers, Hayati, Ayuni, Galbi, my life, my eyes, my heart. A language I was surrounded by every time I walked the streets of Sha'aria, the neighborhood in Israel where she lived and where I set my novel. A language I want to believe lies dormant in my body, genetically encoded into my cells, waiting to be awakened, activated. A language I don't speak, at least not beyond a rudimentary level. And now it feels too late. Arabic existed alongside my mother tongue for generations, a sister language whose words often sound almost the same, like home, bait, and bait. And sometimes are identical, Ain, Yad. They share a similar ring, an etymological root, a lingual family, and yet they are estranged. If this is not a parable about the state of this region, I don't know what is. In the past 2.5 years, words have failed me, felt cliched and insufficient, hollow. It wasn't just a failure to write, but a distrust in words, in their utility and their power to promote change. I watched words become slogans. So how, after the honeymoon phase in which their distillation into catchphrases made them appear concise and powerful, they become flattened and devoid of meaning, lacking in nuance. I watched words become weapons. I watched them divide, differentiate, rupture. Found myself at time dreading words. Say the right words so we'll know which side you're on. Say the right words or don't speak at all. Maybe the opposite of understanding is silence. Both Hebrew and Arabic share the same root for writing, katav and kataba. When I told my friend recently that words fail me, she said plainly, unmoved by my drama, "This is literally your job." She was right. I'm a writer. Words are what I do. I remind myself I've always believed in words, believed that literature could foster empathy, that books could change lives. That's what inspired me to write about my Yemeni Jewish community who had been poorly represented in literature, to try and capture the complexity of Israeli experience, to broaden the Jewish story beyond Ashkenazi normative narratives, to use the failed and flawed Oslo peace process as a background for my novel. War dehumanizes, literature humanizes. That's what fiction does best. It goes deeper and illuminates moments from people's lives. While the news reporters speak of people as a mass, often while standing on a rooftop against the backdrop of a ruined city, the writer zooms in on that one house, one family, one voice, and in doing so helps make reader view others as less other, and hopefully helps us understand. Thank you so much.